Hello and welcome to PRATHAM Test Prep YouTube channel. My name is Nitika Vadva and today we are back with another round of Boost Your Vocabulary session, and this is going to be your session number 4. So let's start with the very first word for the day. Well, particularly for today's video, instead of doing various words, I planned for going ahead with various idioms, and that's exactly what we are particularly going to do. Alright. So the first one for the day is in a New York minute. Now, if you imagine New York as a city, it's considered to be very fast, right? We always talk about the hustle bustle that goes on in the city. So when you say something is in a New York minute, something is done in a New York minute, it means you're talking about something being done very, very quickly, something finished very fast. So have a look at the sentence. I will do the job in a New York minute if you give it to me. So when you say I will do the job in a New York minute, it again means that you will finish the job or you will do this particular task very quickly, right? So this is an interesting idiom, and the image also helps you to understand how the moving train is expressing the same idea. Let us move on to the next one. Alright. So the second idiom is go on a wild goose chase. Now this particular idiom is kind of important for exam point of view because a lot of entrances in the past have also asked the meaning of this particular idiom. So imagine you are doing something that does not have any value. You're doing something pointless, something that is considered to be futile, or in another words, if I may say, waste of. So imagine you actually want to catch a goose, right? It just comes across as a very, very difficult task. So it's not always easy, and again, I would say possible. Have a look at the sentence. After we spent 3 hours wandering in the desert, we realized we were on a wild goose chase. That means we were doing something that genuinely added no value to something that we had to do, right? And it was clearly a waste of time, a futile exercise. So again, easy idiom, but then again important. So make sure that you mark this as star. Let's have a look at the third one. Alright, month of Sundays. Now I believe that before the pandemic actually hit us, we all used to say this one particular sentence that every day should be a Sunday, right? Which means we wanted always a very, very long holiday. And eventually when the pandemic and especially the lockdown in 2020 happened, it turned out to be a really long time and it was just never ending. So month of Sundays actually means a very long period of time. In fact, you can also use this idiom to talk about something that you feel is eternal, right? So look at the sentence. I have not gone to the gym in a month of Sundays and gained a lot of weight. So we are talking about this person who has missed going to the gym for a very, very long time, probably a couple of months or maybe a few years for that matter. And because of that, this person has gained a lot of weight for the simple reason of no exercise, right? So this is something that you can remember with the help of the never-ending lockdown that kind of happened in 2020. Alright, have a look at the next idiom. Rain on someone's parade. Alright, now raining on someone's parade means that you are spoiling something, right? So first, have a look at the sentence. I'm sorry to rain on your parade, but children below the age of 5 years are not allowed on the premises. So I'm not sure how many of you would have been to a particular place, maybe like an amusement park or something, where certain swings are only allowed for kids who are above a certain age, right? So even if you have gone there as a family and you really want your child to experience that because he or she is really interested, they are not able to do that. So maybe the supervisor over there would just say something like this, which is given in the sentence, right? And look at this image. It has something very, very funny written on it. When people try to rain on your parade, poke them in the eye with your umbrella. So if somebody is trying to spoil your plans, right, you can just hit them back. Of course, you should not be doing that. But then this is just another way of making sure that you guys actually kind of remember the meaning of the particular idiom. So again, raining on someone's parade would mean to spoil something. This, I'm not sure how many of you would have heard this idiom maybe used in your day-to-day life, but yes, it's a very fun one, so you may use it. Let's have a look at the next one. Cut the mustard. Now imagine you have this heavy plastic box of mustard and you want to slice the box into two parts, right? It is really hard plastic, and to be able to do that, you need to put in a lot of effort. So finally, if you're able to do that, maybe I could just say you did a good job. So cutting the mustard means to do a good job. Have a look at the sentence. The child cut the mustard after being rejected by multiple talent shows. So we are saying the child eventually could do a good job, was probably successful, right, in achieving his or her dream, even though he or she was rejected by multiple talent shows. If you people have read Harry Potter, well, at least I believe that you guys have watched some of the movies of the series, if not read the books or not seen all the films for that matter, right? So the writer was rejected by her publishers for a very, very long period of time, right? So eventually, when she was able to succeed and the book was such a hit among people, right? So we could say that she managed to cut the mustard. She eventually did a good job. So another good idiom that you kind of can remember. Let's move on to the next one. Next idiom says shape up or ship out, right? So just imagine a classic situation where your parents have asked you to do something and you're just not willing to do it, right? So eventually, the technique that parents generally use is to kind of threaten you a bit, right? So they'll be like, okay, either you do this or you're not going on the next school trip, right? Something like that. Or you're given, let's say, a a few times, right? After that, you can't really come back home or something like that. So when you say shape up or ship out, you are basically kind of giving this threatening gesture to someone that the person either works better or just completely leaves. So another way, if let's say you're working for someone in a company and your performance has been constantly poor, so your manager or your boss could just ask you to either improve in the next few days or months or maybe few weeks, or eventually you would be asked to ship out, which means to leave the company. Have a look at the sentence. The boss told her she had to either shape up or ship out, and it really made her work harder. So because she was kind of given an ultimatum, you could say, right? So eventually she worked harder and was obviously able to stay with the company. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay. Throw in the towel. Now, whenever you say that you want to give up something, right? Let's say you have been practicing to win a particular competition for a very, very long time. And even after putting in a lot of effort, you have not been able to succeed. So you get so fed up that you eventually decide to give up. So when you decide to quit, when you accept your defeat, is what is called to throw in the towel. And of course, based on the tense of your sentence, this particular throw word will take a different form. So 3 of the 10 original candidates for the student council have thrown in the towel. So earlier, you know, in schools you have these student bodies, right? So there were 10 candidates, and after a while, only 3 of them were moving forward to actually apply it for it further, and rest 7 just decided to back out or just decided to quit. So they were no longer in the race to be a part of the student council, the student committee. Also, if you look at this particular image, it's shown like a boxing match, right, in the ring. So do you know when to throw in the towel? So do you know when is the time that you actually decide to quit? So when you are pinned down and you can't really breathe properly, or you know that you're in a lot of pain and you have no energy to fight back any longer, that is also the time when you say, okay, I decide to throw in the towel. So you just tap on the floor thrice on the ring itself, right, on the base of the ring, and that's when you decide to eventually quit. So that is what do you mean by throwing in the towel. Alright, let's move forward to the next idiom. And this one is another interesting one which has sort of appeared in one or the other references in the past. So again, mark this one as star and also consider it to be important. So something that is in the rage. Now in the rage is actually another idiom which you could say something that is very trendy, right? So whenever something that is very trendy and you decide to follow that trend, so it's called to jump on the bandwagon, right? So when something is in the rage, you decide to jump on the bandwagon, which means you decide to follow that particular trend. To have a look at the sentence. After a couple of politicians won elections by promising to cut taxes, most of the others jumped on the bandwagon. So a lot of politicians were able to win elections just because in their manifesto and in their publicizing event, they promised the audiences, the people, the common men, that they are going to reduce the taxes on various aspects, right? And just because they won the elections based on that one promise, right, a lot of other politicians decided to follow the suit and they jumped on the bandwagon. That means they followed the trend and promised exactly the same thing. So if you see people are running behind this musical bandwagon sort of something and they are trying to hop back on it and follow the same trend, right? So another good idiom that you should know, as I said, it is important for your exams. Alright, moving forward to the next one. Okay. So in case you guys have played cards, you would know that ace as a card is really important in any kind of game that you kind of play using those playing cards, right? So when you say you have an ace up the sleeve, it means you have an advantage which you have currently not revealed to others and you're holding it back so that you can use it for your future purposes, right? So have an advantage that is currently being withheld for future purposes. That's exactly what I just said. Have a look at this sentence. Ryan kept quiet in the board meeting. Who knew he had an ace hidden up his sleeve the whole time? So Ryan was sitting in the board meeting and he kept quiet throughout the meeting was going on, right, throughout that particular time. And after that, the others who were sitting in the board meeting realized that he had some very, very important points to make and he was just keeping shut the whole time because he wanted to use that particular point at the right time, right? So that is another thing that we are talking about over here. So to have an advantage and use it at a specific point of time when you think it is more useful, right? So if you watch these different game shows that do come on television, right, and if any particular contestant has won an advantage, so they are given an option to use it at a later stage, right? And whenever they feel the moment that they need it the most, they generally end up using it. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So next one is hook, line, and sinker. Now imagine that you are trying to do something, you're trying to achieve any particular goal or target that you have, and you're putting in a lot of effort for it, right? So you have a lot of passion for it and you're working really hard towards that. So when you do that, that is what is called do it with hook, line, and sinker. Have a look at the meaning. Doing something or trying to achieve something with thoroughness and passion. And the sentence says, I have set my mind to go through the spreadsheet by Monday and I'm working for it hook, line, and sinker. So I've set up this target for myself where I would want to achieve my target. That is by going through the spreadsheets that is probably related to work, where I'm looking at different Excel sheets, maybe for some sort of report work, right? And I am planning to achieve my target for it hook, line, and sinker. So I'm trying to achieve my target by doing whatever I have at hand, right? Whatever resources I have at hand, and irrespective to how much time I'm going to take to do that, I will end up doing it. So when you are doing something with a lot of zeal, a lot of passion, right, and a lot of hard work, that is what precisely this idiom is trying to say, that I'm working for it hook, line, and sinker. Over here, I gave an example in terms of some office-related work, but of course, it could be for your age and level, particularly maybe to get into your dream college or maybe to score well in your board exams, right? So all those aspects could be considered. Well, this was the last idiom for the day that we had to cover, and I'm going to see you in your next video. Till then, take care and do subscribe to our Pratham YouTube channel for the upcoming videos. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.